Okay, so we have a problem. We've got the hull shaped. I don't know if it's symmetrical, but the real problem is we don't have a center line. I forgot to tell you, and that means I forgot to do it, to snap a center line on the bottom of the boat here so I would know what the center is. So when I do the symmetry check and I check out to both sides, I have a center line to go by. But this actually might not be such a bad thing because a lot of times the vibration of taking the foam down on the hull and rounding it off like we've done here makes that disappear. Or maybe your boat gets rained on and it washed away. Whatever it is, you might lose that center line, and now you're like, now how do I do this? So that's what I'm going to show you right now, because I have to do it. Maybe you'll forget, maybe it'll come off, but here's how to do it, even if you didn't do it, and now it's too late because you already shaped the end and you don't know where the middle that you started with should be. Now I think it's pretty close, looking at the gap on that right there, but let's find out. So what we're going to do is we're going to go to the center line that we know is good, which in this case is the one that's through the bottom of the cockpit. And we're going to make a hole in the boat. In this case, a drywall screw. I could use a skewer. However, skewers tend to go into the foam and do this. They're just not quite strong enough. So a drywall screw will go straight if I drive it straight. And it'll just thread its way right down through the boat. And normally with a boat, putting a hole in it is not something you want to do. With a foam boat, it doesn't hurt anything at all. You put a little drop of glue in this if you're really worried about it afterwards, and you'll have removed any potential for water to get through the hull. And the point of the screw is through the boat. And I'll do the same thing at the other end. We've got our two screws. There's one right here you can't really see, and there's one way down there you probably can't see either. And we're going to run the chalk line between these two, since we know at least they're straight. Alright, so I have a center line for that much of the hull. And for the rest, we'll use our handy dandy straight edge to line up to find out if we got the points right where they should be. And then we can do the symmetry check and see if my eyes are right and this side of the boat's a lot straighter and this side's a lot more curved. Because that means we're going to have to bring this one in, since we don't want to have to add foam on this side. But that's the second symmetry check, and it's just as important as the first one. And that's how you end up with a hull that isn't lopsided. Like right now, my eyes are telling me this side of the boat isn't shaped the same as this side. But the ruler will tell the truth. And so here, using the ruler to make sure that I have a line all the way to the end, and I just simply have to line it up with the chalk line. It's already on my hull. Wow, couldn't have got that straighter if I tried and had a point there. All right, well, there's one step down. And as you can see, I'm kind of faced with a dilemma here. I wanted to make the bow shorter, but I like the shape this is taking, except I don't like that. I'm going to have to flatten that off, like I always say, make it 2 inches wide so it doesn't get deformed. So I may put some more blocks in here to fill in this corner. But once again, It's the beauty of working with foam. You can splice, you can scab, you can do whatever. I could fill these in instead of taking more out of here, which is what my original idea was. And I'll have a fuller bow. Now this is a slightly heavy bow because there's so much foam in there. It's all in what you want to do. There's no right and no wrong. As long as it floats and you're happy with the way it looks, then it's right. It's one of the great things about building this. It's not like so many plywood designs where you got to get it right or it's really wrong. So the next thing, symmetry check. Just like the first symmetry check, what you need to do first is have station marks every 1 foot. Now, I know I have them on the other side, and this screw in particular I know went right through at a station mark. So I'm just going to start with that. And actually, because of the way I'm working, I'll use my ruler instead. So every foot, 12 inches, put a mark. And these will be where I'll be checking to see. Don't need to mark that one, that's the panel splice. So I know that one without even needing to mark it. 48. And then again, marking my last set of station marks every. And then just like we did before, we'll go to each station and we'll measure out to each side and see how wide the hull is in each direction. Tape measure is easier on this step. So, and you'll notice I'll just press that right into the hull. Doesn't hurt anything. So that's 9 exactly. And sure enough, this is not the same because on this side, 9, if I get this right, which it is there, 9 is right there. So that's how much I have to remove off the side of the hull right there in order to have symmetry from this side to that side. And I'll just simply do this at each station on the boat and mark the one that is too wide based on whichever one's shorter, bring them into the shorter dimension from both sides with the power plane or the shore form, and that way at least the bottom of the hull will be symmetrical. Then I can actually flip it over and do the same type of check on the rails from the top using the center line that's on the other side. But that's why the center lines are so important on these boats. Just an idea of the mess that you get from shaping the hull with the power plane or the shore form. The shore form will just give you a much finer dust, but the same size pile.